I am literally having to maneuver my way through this house, and I lost $20,000.
I'm crunching numbers this weekend with my contractor, but I think all in we're gonna be like 130, 135. So about 35K over budget, but at least on this one, I purchased this property at a deep enough discount, thanks to Kevin.
Hey, how's it going? So we are in Woodland Terrace, Seminole Heights adjacent. I came to check out this project that Sterling has been working on for the last 8 months, I want to say, almost a year. And I think it's pretty much done. You know, I found this house. I had been working with the seller for like 4 years. So it was a really long process, and I'm really excited to see this house. So Sterling is on the phone. He's taking care of some business, but I just wanted to show you the outside. I always love this house because of the corner lot. We're here at the intersection of Hannah and 34th. So definitely a great house to have because you're going to be sitting right on the corner. And then you might think, well, there's nowhere to park, right? Obviously you see that I parked on this side, but there's a 2-car garage that is huge. We're gonna see how they have changed the layout around, but this curb appeal is really lovely, and you can tell that he's already done the sod and some of the landscaping. There was a big tree in the back. I wonder if he kept that or if he took it down. But overall, I'm already impressed. I love the white with the blue. You know, it's definitely something different than the white and the black that you see everywhere. So it's gonna be a really interesting project to see. Okay, so here's the 2-car garage I mentioned, and you can tell they did the windows on both sides. Here's the man. All right, so I'm talking to Sterling, and he's already getting into it, telling me all of the challenges that he's faced. But I just wanted to really come and look at this house because it was his first flip, right? First flip?
Yep, first one.
And you're going 8 months into it.
I think 7 or 8 months.
Did you think this was gonna take that long?
No, I didn't. I didn't plan on it.
And that's always how it goes. So we're gonna ask him some questions that I'm sure that you have, and yeah, just take it from there. You still have videos of it?
Yeah, pretty good sized room.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy before and after.
And this.
Yeah, this is nothing what it looked like. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, bro. So how long did you originally think this was gonna take?
I think like 3 months.
3 months, so
Yeah, 3.
almost triple the time that you originally thought.
Yeah.
If you had to think about 2 of the biggest challenges, what were they?
I would say the challenges would probably be I underestimated the amount of clean out. So like going into a flip, properly budgeting for dump removal if it's going to be a big project, and exterior landscaping, and probably just having more contractors come through before I start the project, and just getting more quotes and stuff like that.
Okay, so a lot of that attributed to pretty much front-end planning, you know, when it comes to getting a budget for the dumpsters, because they can be expensive. You know, dumpsters are anywhere from $400 to $600.
Exactly, a dump, yeah, and I went through about 8 of them just to get this cleaned out. So yeah, now I know kind of to pre-budget for that.
And then you mentioned pretty much getting different bids from different contractors before you just start anybody.
Yeah, you can't just take someone's word and go from there. You know, you kind of want to get as many eyes on it
Gotcha.
before you start, unless you've already had a trusted team that you've done a lot of projects with.
Right.
You can't just operate off the handshake with people.
Yeah, for sure. So with it being your first flip, what is your overall reflection on doing this? Would you go back and do it again? Would you not do it?
Yeah, I would absolutely do it. I may consider like doing new constructions as well, but I think I'll always rehab for sure. And I've gained a lot of invaluable tips, you know, going through it, learning it. Now I'm excited to go on to the next one and better execute, you know? So it's kind of like fueled a fire inside of me to like get right back to it after this one. So I think we're gonna list this one around like $479.99 and go from there.
And have you had a lot of comparable sales in the neighborhood?
Too many comps of this size with the 2-car garage with the amount of square footage. So it's kind of a unique property, and I think it should move fast, hopefully.
Yeah, and the great thing about you know, properties that are like 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom is you typically have, you know, multi-generational homeowners, you know, so there's a lot of contribution on the mortgage. You know, you're talking about parents and kids and, you know, or grandkids.
Exactly.
Depending on the family, of course. So I think, you know, in comparison to what your friend is doing, you know, they have a 3-2, which definitely is a little bit different. So, you know, I think that gives you the edge, because everybody's going to want a bigger house. And a lot of the problems with affordable housing right now is that, you know, people are having to live with their family a little bit longer.
Exactly.
Because it's so expensive to go and live on your own.
Yep.
So I think that's a big plus with this house.
So my original budget for this, I bought this at $225. I had a renovation budget of $100,000, and I'm crunching numbers this weekend with my contractor, but I think all in we're gonna be like 130.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
35. So about 35K over budget, but at least on this one, I purchased this property at a deep enough discount, thanks to Kevin.
I got you, homie.
So where I was able to learn a lot of things along the way. It took longer than expected, but I'll still be able to, there's still some meat on the bone. So, you know, whenever you don't lose or you don't make what projected, it's always a win in my book. So learn along the way. The profit isn't what I planned out to be, but at least we're not in the negative. So
yeah. So I mean,
all good.
You're all in 360. You're gonna,
about 360.
You know, list it for 489.
Yeah.
You know, maybe give some incentives for the buyer.
Exactly.
And
just
yeah,
get
still
this
a lot
thing
of
sold and get on to the next one, man.
Exactly. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you know, although there was a little bit of a challenge on the rehab, which is obviously typically, you know, what happens, especially for people that are investing for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't walked this with a lot of people. They said this was a big project, you know, even some seasoned investors wouldn't have took this one on. So for my first one, I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. So
yeah, and that's the thing with investing, you know, the longer that you go, the more selective you get.
Exactly.
So a lot of investors that probably turned it down, they know what you're walking yourself into. And you know, it wasn't necessarily that it was a bad investment. It's just
they know what they want to put their time and money or whatever into.
Exactly. You know, time is money, and you know, you're talking about 8-9 months. But at the end of the day, you know, it would have taken you several transactions
to make this amount of money. So
to make this amount of money, and then to also learn all the things that you learned.
Like, obviously I didn't learn everything on this one deal, but I felt like I definitely learned a lot, you know, versus just a quick in and out lipstick renovation. Like, this basically a brand new house. I mean, even since we started construction, I've had to clean out, and then that's another, so I had to pay a lot of money for dump up front, and then even trash as the project is going on. You know, I keep telling my GC, like, where's all this trash coming from? He's like, bro, you built a brand new house. Like, we took this down to the studs. So like I say, you know, I basically built a brand new house, and now I know a lot of bids, what I should be paying for everything for the most part, or a roundabout idea. And now I just know on the next one, like, I might not want to tackle a full interior with a full exterior rehab as well. You know, like, maybe if it's an easy interior remodel and the exterior needs a lot of work, I'll take it on. Or if it's a lot of interior but the exterior is kind of good, you know, I don't think I want to tackle both of those full on again. So
yeah, definitely. You know, that's a common idea, is that your first flip is going to be pretty much cosmetics.
Yeah, that's
But those are really tough to find.
yeah, exactly.
So
And in this market, you kind of want to add value to the like everything kind of now is a value add. You can't just get away with
Yeah.
coming in and throwing paint on the wall and think you're gonna list it for 100,000. Like you need to make it more flow, add another bathroom, add another bedroom, and go from there. Really.
yeah, so the cosmetics always turn into more than that, because you know, you might think, I'm gonna leave the cabinets, and then you're like, yeah, that's not gonna sell, because there's so much inventory right now.
Exactly.
People are gonna pick the nicer
picky.
kitchen. You know, they're gonna pick the nicer bathroom.
Yep. So
You know, all those small things, they do add up. So you definitely want to have a better product, and I definitely think you do with this house.
No! God, please, no! No!
Entrance,
and No!
take you through what I
No!
found, so that you can see how many years of accumulating can turn into a hoarder house. I think the saddest part about this house is that a lot of this stuff is not that bad. I know you're probably thinking that I'm a hoarder or something, but some of these containers have clothes that have never been worn. Some of these containers have stuff that has receipts and things that have never been used. And some of these containers have a lot of things that were worth something to somebody at some point. So I want to tell you how I found this house, and why in the world would someone buy this. So there was a house that I had bought back in June or July from this other lady, and she really loved how streamlined the process was. And after we had closed, she told me, hey, I have a sister that has a house that's been empty for 20, 30 years. Would you be interested in buying it? And I was like, sure. She's like, it's a hoarder house. And I was like, well, how bad? And when she said how bad, I didn't expect it to be this bad. But here we are, closing day. And this property is going to be turned back into what it used to be at one time. But something that you must realize is that they've been sitting empty, 20, 30 years, because they have an emotional attachment to them. And that's what happened with this house. So I really love referrals, because they're the best kind. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. They kind of already have heard good things about you. You have a level of rapport with them. Alright, so this is the worst room because it has a hole in the roof, and it's the main room. This is crazy. Alright, so this is the backyard. To a lot of people, this property probably looks like a teardown, and I don't blame you for thinking that, because I thought the same thing. So why is it not? Well, the one thing that saved this house is that it is a block construction home. So you wouldn't know that unless you saw it on property record, right? Well, property record actually shows this house as a frame home. Why that is, I don't know. But, when I came to look at it originally, I noticed how thick those windowsills are. And then you can obviously tell that there's concrete blocks right there. So once you pull the siding up, you can tell that there's a concrete everywhere. So that is literally what's been saving this house from deteriorating anymore these past 20, 30 years. And that's what allows, or gives the opportunity for someone to come in and pretty much just take it down to the studs and renovate it. Obviously, it is a lot of work, which means that it has to be purchased at the right price. And luckily, I was able to negotiate a really good price with the seller so that we can make that a possibility. And there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be taken out of here. So it's going to be a long process. I estimate, 6 months to 8 months or more. What's going on today? It's closing day for this house, and I lost $20,000. So I'm here to tell you how that happened, how you can prevent it from happening, and the story behind this house. You know, with me starting this channel and really wanting to expand my network, it was super important for me to be honest with myself and be honest with you, the audience that I'm looking for, that wants to work together in the future. You know, I'm not perfect. I have lost money, this being one of them. And it happens, you know, and especially if you want to get started in real estate, you have to accept that there will be risk. You know, things happen. You know, imagine a hurricane hitting it. Imagine a tornado, a fire, God forbid, right? But all these scenarios are possible. So I'm going to take $20,000 loss on the chin, you know, move on to the next opportunity, and definitely have a better outlook at it and a better strategy, you know, when it comes to rehabbing it. You know, because all of these things, they get expensive. You know, this stove, the microwave, the tile, the countertops, the cabinets, the handles, you know, all of those things, you know, the GFCs, the faucet, the sink, everything. It just adds up so quick. It's crazy. It's hilarious. But overall, you know, I'm 6 years into this journey. So I'm super thankful that this has been just one of two losses. And, you know, cheers to more wins and more profit. So we bought this house in July, and by we, I mean my partner and I, and we had high hopes for it. But there was a few things that went wrong, and it all began with paying too much. So the number one rule when it comes to real estate or any kind of business is buy low and sell high. Now with this house, we paid $230,000 for it. And honestly, that was way too much given the area, but we had seen the comps. There was a few, and not just one, but a few comps that justified the 230. But I think that the biggest deterrent from people buying this house wasn't the beautiful two-car garage that is super spacious, but rather that is right next to the main bedroom.
It is what it is. It is what.
Bedroom, which a lot of people didn't like. So we didn't have to touch the roof, but we did do the air conditioning and then of course the electrical. So the reason why investors lowball, you know, a lot of properties is because things come up, you know, especially when you're rehabbing a house that's very old. Something always comes up, whether it's structural or whether it's a 4-point that you missed, but it happens. But my biggest accomplishment was pretty much making sure that my partner got her investment back, which she did. So she didn't lose any money. I took the brunt of it, and the reason being it was her first rehab, and I just couldn't see me walking away and her losing some of the money that she had invested. It was a hard pill to swallow on.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
So some houses make you money and some houses make you a better investor. And I think I came out a better investor because of this house. Another thing that I learned about this house is that if you are buying a house under 1,000 square feet, it's going to be really tough to sell right now with all the inventory that's available. So we sold this for $309,000, right? It's for St. Petersburg, you know, that's fair. It's probably less than average, but that's because it's a less than average square foot house. You know, I think this was about 1,050 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. So going forward, I don't see myself buying anything that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and at least, you know, 1,300, 1,400 square foot with a nice layout. It's one of those things that it's just not worth your time at the end of the day. And a lot of home buyers that are willing to pay, you know, 300, 400,000, they don't want that small of a house. They have a bigger family typically. But I'm really just glad that this is going to be the end of this chapter. You know, one thing about investing is that when a deal goes bad, you are trying to find how you can exit ASAP. And it took us a while. You know, we bought it in July. Now it's January. Today's the 9th. It's supposed to close tomorrow. And God willing, it does. But you know, my partner came out unscathed. My lender made a lot of money because they always do, and I came out a better investor. There was a hurdle that I had to navigate through with this house, which was a permit from 2001 that was expired, and we couldn't close without pretty much taking care of it. So it was so old that I couldn't figure out what it was for, and I did some digging and I found out that it was for the garage that was built in 2001. They did all the inspections except the final inspection, and obviously that gentleman passed away, you know, left it to his kids, and his kids sold it to me. So it was really tough to try to figure out how I was going to solve that. I ended up having to hire a GC and then having to hire a engineer to basically sign an affidavit of inspection, or inspection of affidavit, one of the two. And basically they helped me with closing out that permit. I had never had to do that, so it's one of those things that, you know, you don't know until you know, until you have to go through it. So, you know, in the beginning it was really challenging. It's kind of one of those things like you have to take a deep breath and you got this knot in your chest and you have to figure out what you're going to do. But, you know, going forward now I know what to do, and I also have a bigger Rolodex, you know, a bigger group of people that I can count on, that I know, that that I can trust, that I've worked with before, for any kind of situation that comes up in the future. So I'm super thankful for everybody that contributed to this project, and I'm looking forward to doing more in 2025. Cheers.